The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Yeah, Earnestly Speaking podcast. Let's get it. I'm a giant in New York, in Miami carry heat. So much more in store, my product can flood the street. Opinion Nation Godfather, CEO. Puff in the late 90s, gon' see me blow. Oh. Got my hustle on, no imitation of bad. Army of untouchables, Opinion Nation staff. Never an off season, homie, check the numbers. Heart throb in my own right, supplying southern comfort. Earnestly speaking, my ego is well fed. Earnestly speaking, you're too feeble and no threat. See, I'm like a hurricane, you're a mild breeze. Earnestly speaking, leaving Eli a dynasty. Shake!
Earnestly Podcast, special bonus episode here. Joined here by, of course, my friend, 1/3 of my Wrestling Podcast, all the way out to wrestling today. My man DJ Minter with us. We haven't done a regular pod like this. I think you and I. It's probably the first time actually. I think you and I did a pod alone. Actually. Oh, wait! My bad. My dumb ass did not unmute you. I apologize. That's on me. How you doing, DJ? Sorry about that.
Oh, man, I'm good. No, this is the first time you and I have done a non-wrestling podcast, and you and I have sat here one-on-one. I've been looking forward to this one.
Yeah, and I'm really excited for this one because this is a bonus episode we're doing here. Because you folks already know this is the podcast. We talk a lot of sports in this podcast. We talk a lot of wrestling, but everybody knows I am very passionate about music as a whole, especially hard rock, metal, and all that. Here in Daytona, in Florida, we do a festival here in Daytona called Rockville, which is a 4-day festival that happens every May. You went once again. You go every year. I think you've gone for the last 3-4 years now, maybe more.
This was our 4th year.
Yeah, in a row, right?
Yeah, 4 in a row. Several
Wow.
years back, they split the festival in 2 locations. Half of it was in Jacksonville. 1 year, the other half was in Fort Myers, and then 1 year it was close to you down in Fort Lauderdale. That's the first one.
I remember that. Yes, I remember that.
And then
yes, that's correct.
About 5 years ago, they said, "Wait a minute," because what they would do was. There was a 3-day festival. It was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And whoever played on Friday in Jacksonville would come down to Fort Lauderdale, and they would just rotate out through the weekend. And then some bands would just come in on Sunday. And I think that just ended up being like a major pain in the ass. So they moved it all to Jacksonville for, I think, 1 or 2 years, and then moved it to the Daytona International Speedway, I think 5 years ago, either 4 or 5 years ago.
And I guess Daytona is perfect now because it's actually center of everything. Daytona right now it's on the East Coast. It's pretty much center of the entire state. So anybody from South Florida or North Florida to go to the show, it's pretty much feasible to do that. It's a 4-day festival. I was supposed to go actually in 2021 or 2020 rather for my 40th birthday to see Metallica. They were supposed to headline that year. But of course, we know 2020 happened, COVID. Yeah. So that got canceled, and then 2021, I think 21, 22, they came back, but I didn't go. They bother going.
21. Let's see. I went to 22, 3, 4, and 5. In 21, they did it in November, and Metallica played 2 days there.
Right. Remember that? I was supposed to go to one of those shows, but I decided not to go last minute. But I want to talk to you about this because, you don't look it, but you're in the 50s. Yes. I always tell folks I love live shows. However, DJ, I can't do festivals anymore. I can't do long even 1-day festivals are hard for me to even comprehend now. I haven't done a festival since Ozfest in the late 2000s. So in your 50s, how are you still doing this shit? And by the way, he didn't just go for 1 day. This motherfucker went all 4 days, dude. All 4 days. How do you do it still in your 50s, man?
Well, one, I'm not in bad shape for my age. I don't work out as regularly as I used to, but I've worked out fairly regularly for years. It's been part of my routine. 2 is I'm just fucking stubborn. Like, I'm just too stubborn to say, you know what, I'm too old for this shit. Because let me tell you something. The big story this weekend was the heat. I mean, it was regular temperatures of about 93 to 96 with a feels like over 100 on a couple of days. People were dropping like flies, man. It was It was rough. Now, to be fair, the festival people who run it, Danny Wimmer Presents, they adjusted on the fly. By Thursday, they had moved in a few buses that you could cool off in. They built some air conditioned tents. By Saturday, they built more. Bottled waters were going for $4.50 a bottle. They cut that down to $2. No, it's not bad for that, but they cut it down to $2 a bottle by Friday morning.
Right.
And then they had water stations all over the place. You could bring in a bottle of water. If you finished your bottle of water, go to the refilling station and refill it. And that's what we did. I probably drank a gallon of water each day. We bought Gatorades intermittently to keep hydrated. Didn't drink a whole lot of alcohol. Not going to lie, my legs and my feet were killing me at the end of the night, all 4 nights. But took Monday off, recovered, and I was back to the races and at work on Tuesday.
What's the setup there? Is it like one main stage and then like 2 side stages and stuff? How's it work out there?
No, there's 2 main stages. Have you ever been to the International Speedway at Daytona?
No, I've not been there before.
Okay, so it's huge. Like, the place is a monument. Like, if you ever get a chance to go, the place is fucking enormous. They have 2 main stages. They have the Octane, it's Sirius XM Octane. They have their stage on one end, and then there's another one that's kind of sponsored by the local rock station, 1011 JRR, is on the other end. And that gets real hard towards the end of the day because you start off the early day with like garage bands. There's a total of 5 stages. When you first come in on turn 1, there's they call it the garage stage, and it's where like all the really, really early on, just getting started bands start playing. Then, like I said, the main stages are on either end, and then tucked away back over by turn 3, there were 2 side-by-side stages this year. There was the Inferno and the Vortex, I think. And they just they alternate bands throughout the day there. And then you just you get your schedule, you look at your lineup, and depending on how big the act is and where they are in the day will determine what stage they play on. And, obviously the people that they're expecting more to be there for or get later in the day get on the bigger stages. So at the end of the night, if you've got, and they kind of overlap a little bit, but they kind of give you just enough time. Like if you're at the far end at the Octane stage and you want to go see somebody on the Apex stage was the name of the other stage. You do have to cut all the way across the field.
So there is crossover, definitely.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of crossover. We had several bands cross over, and there were bands who, because they overlapped in time, with bands that I really wanted to see. I missed parts of other shows, but that's just festival life. You look at your schedule for the day, like, okay, I really want to see them.
Choose, right.
If they can choose, you prioritize, and then you catch what you can.
What bands were you looking forward to seeing the most? Like going into the festival last Thursday, like there's like a couple of bands that you said, my goal is to see this band, this band, this band, this band.
Collectively, she and I wanted to see Shinedown because that's one of our favorite bands. I saw them at the festival. And I'll tell you about that one in a little bit, but Shinedown was one of them. Hailstorm was another one because Hailstorm was a band she and I found together. So it's kind of like our band. Right. We wanted to see the Pretty Reckless came in and subbed for 3 Doors Down because, Brad from 3 Doors Down announced that he had stage 4 cancer. So 3 Doors Down had to pull out. Pretty Reckless were in town with AC/DC. So they came and subbed in for them. So we were, as much as it sucks for 3 Doors Down and Brad and that whole situation is just horrible, horrible, horrible. And, bless him and good luck to him and everything. Stepping in with the Pretty Reckless. We've seen them before. We love their music. I kind of wanted to see Green Day just because I've been a fan since Dookie. My girlfriend, not so much. We wanted to see Pierce the Veil, Motionless in White, Bad Omens. There were a couple others, but then me personally, again, I'm in my 50s. I like my OG metal, and Exodus and Testament were playing. And I've never seen either one of them. And I'm like, these guys are older than me. If I'm ever going to get a chance to see Exodus and Testament, the guys who literally laid the groundwork for all the other bands there, I'm going to go see those guys. And I broke away from, my girlfriend for a little bit and went to watch their sets.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome.
So
who was the best band that you saw?
Boy, that's tough. From a personal, I would say Hailstorm was really, really up there just because we saw them. So this will be like our 4th or 5th time seeing them. We saw them a couple years ago and something just felt off. Like they sounded good, but you can just tell when a band's having an off day. This was a well-oiled machine that we saw on Thursday. They've got a new album coming out in August. You can tell this band is rejuvenated creatively. They've rested up. They've gone and found themselves again, and I think they're going to reinvent themselves with this new album. It's called Everest. Shine Down was amazing as always, and believe it or not,
they headlined Thursday.
They headlined Thursday. Green Day headlined Friday. I'm going to tell you what, they knocked it out of the friggin' park. Green Day is a solid live act, man. They were really good.
Yeah. If I would have gone to this show this year, I would have probably gone for the Friday show because of Green Day, because they're a band I've never seen before. The Thursday line was interesting too, because you had 3 days. Shine Down headline that day. A couple of bands I saw. Trivium was there too. Did you see Trivium by chance?
Trivium, we saw them. They were good.
Because my band opened from back in 2006, actually.
Oh, that's very cool. I was looking forward to Trivium. They didn't. They're dicks. I hate to hear that. They were fine live. One thing that I really enjoyed, 3 Days Grace, I got to put those guys over because they've had, I don't know if you know the history with them. They had their original lead singer, and I apologize, I don't know names. He left the band, and they took on a new lead singer who was from, Tina would know the name. My Darkest Days was the name of the band he used to sing for. They picked him up. He's been rocking right along. And then about a year ago, the original singer said, hey, I want to come back. And they're like, well, we really like this guy. So they brought in both singers, and both guys have been working together. And that made for a killer live set with 3 Days Grace. Because, the original singer sang some of his songs. The newer guy sang some of his songs. And then they sang duet on a few songs. And the whole thing just went together really well. They did a nice tribute song to Three Doors Down. They played one of their songs as a tribute to him. Quite a few bands mentioned Brad over the weekend. Couple things Shine Down did that made this special for me. One, they played the guitar. They shut everything down, and the guitarist came out, and he played about the first half of Kryptonite from Three Doors Down. Okay. It was beautiful. Like the whole audience was just like losing it.
That's amazing.
And then towards the end, Shine Down does a cover of Leonard Skinner's Simple Man, which is one of my all-time favorite songs. I mean, Leonard Skinner's one of my favorite bands as a kid growing up. Simple Man, it touches me personally in a way. And when they did this song several years ago, at first I didn't like it because I gatekeep that song. It's one of those songs that it's so personal to me. I don't want to hear anybody else do it. And when Brent did it originally, I'm like, nah, this stinks. And then I heard it live, and I'm like, wait a minute, no, this is really good. So they started playing the song Thursday night, and about 2 bars in, Brent stopped the guitar, said, wait, this doesn't sound right. Something sounds off. I know what we need. And he brought out the surviving members of Leonard Skinner, and they played the song together, and it was fucking spiritual, man.
God, that's amazing.
Fucking awesome. And I got video of the whole thing. It was great. It was fucking
amazing.
Awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was such a moment. It's easily a top 3 concert moment for me, and it ain't 2 or 3.
Right. So I'm looking at the entire lineup here, and I'm looking at it again because I've seen it quite a few times. If there was a day that I would have picked to go to for a singular day, it would have been Sunday, because first off, one of my all-time favorite bands played Sunday, Seven Dust. Okay, they're there. You had also Chimera, who I love also too. That they just got back together recently. And of course, Korn headlined that day as well. What was your most impressive day of the 4?
A Thursday, because most of the bands that we really, really wanted to see were on Thursday. And then, like I said, that moment with Shine Down and Leonard Skinner made the whole festival. Not to say that there weren't some great moments and some great bands the other 3 days, but if I had to pick a day if somebody looked at me and said, hey, Deej, now that you've done it, if you only could do one day, which one would it be? It would be Thursday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, Thursday's pretty solid. I will say that. Exodus is there. Like I said, Dillinger Escape Plan is there. A couple bands I do like there. But dude, that Sunday line was pretty sick. I mean, first off, Seven Dust is a top 5 band all time for me anyway. So that right after that, but I gotta say this though. You mentioned to me about Mudvayne, and Mudvayne. It was a letdown.
Buddy,
what happened?
I can't.
What happened?
I can't defend that set, dude. I'm just gonna say Chad sounded horrible, and I don't think
was this the first time seeing him live?
I saw him last year.
Okay.
This is my
And when they
second
get
time
last year?
seeing them live. They were a little better last year. I'm not a huge Mudvayne fan to begin with. Like I go all the way back to Not Fallen, and that's probably was my introduction to them.
Second album.
Yeah, and I enjoyed it well enough. It was a good song, but all in all, I wouldn't say I was a big, fan of theirs. But seeing them live, they're a better studio band. Now that being said, their bass player is fucking awesome.
Ryan Martini is fucking amazing.
He
is amazing.
I isolated him while I was watching the band because I checked out on Chad. Like I don't know if he had something go and I'm not the only one that noticed. I showed you in a thread that I'm in a couple of messages from there. It just seemed like he was really off, and so I isolated the bass player and watched him, and that dude was thumping.
So, it was Chad. Did Chad look overweight to you again?
Yeah, he's put on some bulk now. There's a bit of muscle.
Because I saw him. So I've seen Mudvayne. I've been a Mudvayne fan since 2002. Okay, but I never saw him live until 2 years ago down here in West Palm Beach, and then I saw him again last year when they opened Megadeth last August. They were good both shows. I enjoyed both those shows, but I will say their music though, live, and maybe because they're a lot older now, they play those songs a lot slower live.
Yeah.
So
it just seemed like Chad was screaming without any like rhyme or reason to it. Like he was screaming the lyrics, which he does. That's how he sings. But it felt, God, what's the word I'm looking for? Disjointed.
Forced? Okay.
Some of it felt forced and it felt disjointed. I thought they were better last year. Because I watched them last year and I thought he sounded better. Like I said, I don't know what was going on this year, but he just was not with it. Like he was the glaring sore thumb with Mudvayne this year because musically they were pretty hot.
Right. Were you able to see Korn on Sunday?
We did not. We did do again 50, almost 52. By the time we got to Korn, we'd already seen them.
Right.
So I looked at her. She looked at me. I'm like, you know what? We got about halfway through Bad Omens because Bad Omens was like the next to the last band, which Bad Omens was fucking awesome. We were like, you know what? I'm not overly pressed to see Korn again. I like songs, but Korn is not a band I would pay to specifically see.
It's funny. I want to see him this summer again.
I
told you my wife and I were flying. My wife and I are flying to New York in August to see System of a Down and Korn.
Oh,
together.
cool! I knew. I knew you were going to see System of a Down.
Right.
So is Serge singing for them again?
Yeah. The same 4 members.
Okay, so I thought Serge had quit them.
Mm-hmm. No, they're not even together right now. To be honest with you, they're not even technically together. They're just doing shows here and there.
I got.
But they're doing the whole Race Against the Machine thing. They're doing shows here and there, but they're not technically working together, like putting out new albums. They're just doing selective shows. So the reason why we decided to do this is because we have a bunch of friends want to go. It's a nice trip, go away from her and I, and we've never seen System of a Down before live. And if there's an opportunity to go see them, take the opportunity now while we can, because they've been together in 20 years. So that's why we're doing it. Korn, I've seen now. As of last year, I've seen 3 times. I saw him in 2002 twice. No, 2002 once, then 2004 with Linkin Park, and then I saw him last year. And I honest, when I saw him last year, I was blown away how good they sounded. Like even though they're a lot older, they still sounded amazing. I was really impressed how they sound last year. So I'm looking forward to seeing them again this year with System of a Down, of course.
Some of those older bands, man, are putting it out. Like, for whatever anybody may think, I thought Marilyn Manson was awesome. What I caught of his set, unfortunately for me, Marilyn Manson was on the Octane stage at 7:35, and Testament was on one of the side stages at 7:30. And I had made it a mission to see because they had to rotate the schedule because another band that dropped out was Alice in Chains for health reasons. And then they had to shuffle the whole day. So at first there was only like a 15-minute overlap between Testament and Marilyn. But then there ended up being late. They started at the same time. Marilyn ran for an hour and Testament ran for about 40 minutes. So I'm like, well, shit, I don't want to miss Testament, but I don't want to miss Manson either. So I watched about a half an hour of Testament, made it over to Manson. Manson sounded incredible. Very entertaining, very energetic, sounded really, really good. So yeah, a lot of those bands that are, quote unquote older, and I say older, they've been around 20 to 30 years, as opposed to Testament, Exodus, who go all the way back to the 80s.
Of course.
So yeah, it's a lot of those bands are still getting it. And one thing that I'll say, when I listen to a lot of this modern rock, I like music, but there's something missing. And when I was watching Testament, and I was listening to the way they arrange their music and the way they play their songs and guitar solos and the bridges and the lyrics. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, yeah, there's only about 3,000 people here watching these guys, whereas 9 to 10,000 will go watch somebody who's 10 to 15 years in the business. And I'm thinking, some of these kids that I've seen playing today need to be in this crowd watching Testament, need to be in this crowd watching Exodus, to kind of see how you arrange a song. Because a lot of times with these newer musicians, they're out there and they're playing really heavy, hard chords. And some of the music is good, but a lot of it is just, it's cookie cutter. Like sometimes I have a hard time telling when the first band ended and the next band begins.
Yeah, and if anything, too, for these kids, also the evolution of where the genres come from. Like Exodus, people forget, Exodus was actually Kirk Hammett's first band before he joined Metallica.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot of lineage there, a lot of legacy there for that band. But one more thing to get you out of here. Well, first of all, two things real quick. You didn't see Seven Dust, did you?
We caught part of Seven Dust, and that would have been my fourth or fifth time seeing Seven Dust. They're always awesome live. First time I saw them was at Ozfest back in '97. Yep. I saw them at Ozfest for the first time.
So '97 when it first came out. Oh my god! First album.
Yeah, dude, they were nobody. Oh, my
heart,
they were
DJ.
on the side stages, man.
I met those guys a few times too. They're great guys. They really are.
They seem real cool, and they always put on a good show, man. I'll always stand up for Seven Dust.
My wife is obsessed with LeJohn, so lead singer, so she loves him. That's I've
been watching them so long. When we saw them back in 2017 at Fort Rock down in Lauderdale, the dude was talking about the history of the band. He's like, "Look, when we all started, we were all kids. Now we've all got kids." And it was just wild listening to him talk like that.
And they're all still in great shape too, man. They're all in really good shape.
They look good.
They'll take care of themselves physically. Yeah, absolutely. I see him about 10 times actually. So, you also mentioned too that you it was either night one. It might have been night one when you text us, me and Rob, in our group chat. Kill Switch Engage. You said something about Kill Switch Engage.
Again.
Kill Switch
Engage was fucking awesome, man. They were really good, and they were on one of the side stages. I really think they could have been on one of the main stages because, dude, they were elbows to assholes. And this area where the stages were side by side, it was the Inferno and the Vortex. You could probably comfortably get 6,000 to 8,000 in there. And when you go on the app, it'll tell you how many people signed up to, they put that on their schedules to go see. There was 11,000 people under Kill Switch Engage. And that's not including the people that were just going to wander in any way that didn't use the app. Dude, they were packed in there. And side note on that, the band before them was a band called Kubla Khan. If you haven't heard of them, they're pretty damn good. I'd heard their radio stuff, and when I first started on the radio, I'm like, I don't know. But then you see them live, and it just hits differently. They're one of those bands, if you've had a shitty day at work and you just want to listen to something loud that kicks you in the chest, Kubla Khan is a good band to go check out.
All right. So last thing, let's get out of here because we got short on time. Now, my wife and I talked to her a couple days ago, and I told her that I actually want to go next year. Now, whether or not I do all 4 days, that's up for discussion. I don't think I'll do 4 days. I think I'll do max 2 days, depending on what bands are playing what. If I decide to do 4 days, okay, next year, what kind of advice would you give me or anybody else who wants to do the whole 4-day festival? What kind of advice would you give us?
Definitely hydrate. It's Florida. Yes. I would pace yourself, and I would absolutely be prepared to not be able to see certain bands that you want to see. You have to make sacrifices, and you got to prioritize, okay, which band do it? Because there was a couple bands I didn't get to see this year. And like I said, I missed half a Manson set. If you're going to do all 4 days, one good thing to do is in the middle of the whole thing, you got the Apex on one end and the Octane stage on the other. In the middle, they have like little seating areas with big screens. And if you're wanting to take a break, you can sit down and you can watch the bands on the screens. And I know it's not exactly the same as going up to the stage, but if you need a break and there's a band you want to listen to, there's plenty of areas there where you can just watch on the little screen and take a break from the walking around. And I think EJ froze up on me. He did. All right. I don't know if we're still live here, but EJ just froze up on me. I'm hoping to get him back in a minute. Boy, this is awkward because I'm live and I think he's still recording. And if he's not, I'm talking to myself. I'll give him a minute here. He's messaging me.
Sorry about that, buddy.
Hey, no worries, man. No worries. Yeah, I don't know what part you caught last.
So the last part. All right. So 5, 4, 3, 2. All right. So last thing I got here. No short in time. So I'm considering going to Rockville next year. I told my wife a couple days ago, and I told her if the bands are loaded up again like we're this year, we're gonna have to try something. Now I don't know if I'll do all 4 days. Certainly gonna try to do at least probably max 2 for the time being. But having said that, if I decide to go to this festival 2 days, but even 4 days, what kind of advice would you give me or others that want to do this again? Just try this out.
Obviously, hydrate.
Mm-hmm.
And the best thing you can do, man, is use the app, because the app will let you make a schedule. It'll let you.
Oh, really?
Usually about the last. Yeah. The app is really, really good. They usually post the full schedule because obviously bands drop out, bands come on board, things happen like they did this year.
That's really cool.
Utilize the app. It goes, stage by stage, hour by hour, who's playing, and it'll let you select who you really want to see. And then you can look at your own schedule. And then from there, you can kind of prioritize, okay, who do I really want to see and who do I want to overlap? And then from there, pick out your game plan. Mm-hmm. And from there, and eat before you go. Mm-hmm. Because it's not cheap. And if you're trying to save a little bit of money, we stopped at somewhere for breakfast every morning and ate a big breakfast and then just hydrate throughout the day.
That's kind of what I do, like with Disney too, also with my wife, although my kids sometimes ruin it. But like we will go, like we used to go to like a buffet and stuff our faces, knowing that we'll be at the park anyway, burning it off anyway. So
yeah,
we'll go so my face is somewhere cheap, whatever, and then to avoid buying food on grounds. And it did work for a while, but then of course having kids now, they get hungry and then like, oh well, we're gonna eat now too. So
we did buy food there, but
how's is food there good? Is it okay?
It's pretty good. Yeah, they've had a few good vendors. They had a wood fire pizza. They got a couple different pizza options, but we found one that was wood fire. That was pretty good. They've got noodles and they've got what did we have this? They've got like macaroni and cheese with like pulled pork or buffalo chicken, stuff like that in there if you want to do that. What the hell did we have at one point? We had something. They had acai bowls that we got on Sunday, and they had another thing that loaded French fries and stuff like that. It's
Right.
I mean, they've got burgers and fries and chicken tenders if you want to do that.
Right.
So there's all kinds of food. They've got full bars all over the place. Yeah, they had a whole Jack Daniel's trailer. Metallica's whiskey has their own tent there.
Oh yeah, blackened.
Yeah. Drinks there.
Yeah.
Then they've got beer vendors everywhere, and they turned the Daytona International Speedway into a small town, like they really do. There's a Ferris wheel. There's carnival rides over in one little side. There's various merchandising, and it's just amazing. Like I'll do 4 days until my body tells me don't do this anymore. And then I'll probably go one more year just because, like I said at the beginning of this, I'm fucking stubborn.
One of my buddies, JD, one of my country buddies I go to shows with here locally, he went all 4 days as well too. And he said that it was crazy. Like he had a good time, but like it was very hot. Number one, they said it might have been one death actually there too because of heat. Maybe
I don't know about deaths. I know there were some people that passed out. I know they pulled one per back to back because Kubla Khan played and then Killswitch Engage played. They carried somebody. They had to stop the set at Kubla Khan because somebody in the circle pit either passed out or got knocked down or knocked over, and they had to stop, bring in emergency, bring them out. And then for Killswitch, about halfway through the set, the same thing happened, and they carried this kid out. There were a few instances where people were off to the side, overheated. So yeah, you gotta protect yourself. And for anybody who hears this who's not from Florida and who is thinking about going to this festival, let me be very real with you. The heat is a real thing. I know everybody thinks living in Florida is some kind of paradise.
Hell no, buddy.
Dude, it is a fucking myth.
And motherfucker, it's only May. It's only May.
Yes. And we had August and July weather in May. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? Please, if you're going to do this, take the heat seriously. Don't say, oh, I come down there for a couple days every year. No, it's fucking real. When you're out in it all day for 4 days straight, man, you got to protect yourselves.
All right. So my buddy, real quick, before I get out of here, my buddy, he put a little Facebook status on his trip. He goes, basically saying it was Daytona's fucking hot in May, blah, blah, blah. He said, stay hydrated. Rumors of people jump like flies. One of my friends said he saw someone like it was dead. He actually ended up upgrading to VIP. Was a good call. Expensive was a good call. Had its own food and more importantly, shade from the fucking sun. He said his cell phone sucked. Too many fucking people in a small space. Killed my phone. The biker bar was fun. Circle pits can spawn any time, of course. He said he enjoyed Manson. Chimera, of course, was awesome. Food was really good, as you said. Yeah. He said stay hydrated also too. So yeah, same thing.
All the above. All the above. This cell service sucks.
Yeah. So I see, this is the thing. I if I can do it, if my kids are older, this would be an easy sell for me because I'll say, you know what, this is like my vacation time. Fuck it.
Yeah.
You know, but what do you guys have a hotel nearby, or how's that work?
No, we live about 90 minutes from the Speedway.
You guys go home back?
Well, we went to my mother-in-law lives about 40 minutes north of us, so it cuts the driving distance in half. So we just stayed there for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night, and it was like a 45-minute drive from her mom's to the Speedway. And her mom actually went with us the first 2 days.
Oh, really?
She paid for all 4, but her mom's 72.
Right.
And by the end of day 2, she was cooked, man. When we told her, it's like,
no. All respect to the mom because 72 going 2 nights, and I'm bitching about 1 day doing fucking 8 hours.
I didn't want to shame you or throw you under the bus, brother. But
I'm 45. Fuck all that shit, man. I'm with you, bro. That is insane, dude. All respect to her, to your mother-in-law, man. Seriously, that is insane.
Yeah,
honestly, and I'm bitching about 1 day. Come on.
She did. She made it 2 days, man.
That's awesome. That is awesome. DJ, thank you so much for coming on this podcast and talking about this with me. No wrestling today, obviously. I'm looking forward to the main event on Saturday, though. Looking forward to watching that. So
yeah, I'll be out of town, so I'll probably catch it on Monday. But EJ, thank you, man. This was fun. I like stepping out of the wrestling, and I love talking music with you.
Absolutely. We'll do it again soon.
All right, man.